So along those lines, what are you excited about for the future of podcasting?
I'm starting to wonder. I'm a little bit wondering what the peak of this is. I mean, we're growing at a steady rate, and
so we haven't hit that peak yet.
Right. Well, what is that peak? I know that
Good question.
we're reaching. I think in the last Edison research, it was showing that we're reaching close to 80% of the U.S. population that are listening to podcasts, which is, that's up there. I mean, I think smartphone adoption only hit like 91% or something like that. So it does kind of make you wonder, once you've reached that plateau, that it's not going to, there's nobody left, right? So once you've kind of reached a certain level. So I guess the metric that I'm thinking more about that's important is how much content people are listening to on a weekly basis and on a monthly basis. And how can we facilitate that? And how can we create more community interaction with podcasters? And then also maybe figure out a way to move away from advertising.
Yeah, I can see how that would be. Yeah, needing a sponsor, I guess, puts you, like you were talking about with hosting, it makes you beholden to a particular company, right?
Yeah, and I think if you think back to the early days of podcasting, which is an interesting story too, is that so some of the early advertising that was done in podcasting, this was like back in 2005, 6 timeframe, the show would take on a sponsor, and the sponsor would send them like a Casper bed or something like that, right, to sleep on for 2 weeks before they did their campaign, which was a common practice back then.
It's still a common practice in videos.
Right. Yeah. And then the host would sleep on it for a couple of days or whatever, and the truth would come out in the podcast, right? They would say what they really felt about the bed, right? Because
the real truth.
The real truth. And that may not be what the advertiser wants to hear, but the podcaster would come out and say whether or not they like the bed or not. And do we hear that today in advertising?
Not much.
I don't think so.
Not much. Yeah, so, we're kind of programmed to say that we like the product.
Yeah. If we take money,
Yeah.
Right. That makes us beholden to the advertiser to represent them in a positive way. And I think a lot of the ethics around that are a little shaky, right?
Yeah, it's
when
tough.
It comes right down to it. So
I remember doing stuff for my songwriting website, and I would accept sponsors who would put banners up and that kind of thing. And it was all very specifically related to songwriters, so I was very picky about that. But I also was very picky about what advertising I would do. And I had to I had to like what I was advertising, because if you're putting something out there, and it's even more so when you're doing a podcast and you're the host, if you're putting something out there that you're saying, oh, this is a really great product, and then many people buy it and they think it's crap, then that's
You've
your
lost credibility.
name. Yeah, exactly. That's your name on the line, So there's that kind of social contract, I think, that we need to be very conscious of. So yeah, it's hard. So it doesn't happen much now, you're saying? Like, people used to actually speak their mind and be okay about doing that, and now they're not?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it's just a shift in the fabric of the medium and how we embrace commercialization in the medium. It's starting to look a lot more like radio,